In Major Series Lacrosse, there's only room for one first-place team. Coming into tonight's match, 3 teams are battling for that right. Despite 2 straight Game 7 playoff heartbreaks, Six Nation Chiefs have performed strong and sit atop the MSL standings. Is this the year they take that next step? After back-to-back MSL semifinal losses, many wondered if mediocrity would be the story again for the Brooklyn Redmen, yet they hold down second place. Both teams separated by just 1 point. Who will pull out first place overall at the end of this evening?
Hello lacrosse friends, welcome to live Major Series Lacrosse web streaming action from the Iroquois Park Sports Center. The Six Nations Chiefs, the Brooklyn Redmen, 2 teams that lost in the semifinals last year of MSL, as you just heard, and they are battling for position this year, and it is a pretty big deal, especially for the Chiefs, who lost on visiting floors the last 2 years. They are bound and determined that they will be the home team this year for their division finals. I am Steven Stamp, bringing you play-by-play of the game, joined by Matthew Carrick, your color commentator. Matthew, this should be a great matchup tonight. Yeah, absolutely. 2 teams that are, like you said, so evenly matched up, and everyone wants to talk about Brampton and Peterborough when it comes to Major Series. Perennial favorites as they go through, but this year, these are the 2 teams that are making names for themselves and pushing themselves up there in terms of standings and in terms of getting something done as we head into the postseason. These two divisions, the different division alignments. These are 2 teams sitting first place in each division and going for first place overall here tonight, Stephen. Yeah, Brooklyn tied with Peterborough atop the East, and Peterborough actually in the IL Indoor Power Rankings this week that I just published today. Peterborough jumped up to first because both these teams actually struggled a bit last week. But Brooklyn tied for first, working against Peterborough. Six Nations, of course, is tied with Brampton atop the West. So, the traditional powers are still there. Kitchener-Waterloo also making a name for themselves. But this game tonight should be a great one. These 2 I've got tied for second in the power rankings. They play tonight. They play again Saturday in Six Nations. It's going to be a great battle between the 2 of them. Their entire season series in 4 days. Yeah, absolutely. And when you get action so compact like that, these guys get to know each other pretty well, pretty fast. And as you get to know each other, you get to know the good things about each other and the not so good things about each other either. And those are the relationships that we're going to see out here on the floor here so far this evening. Yeah, the intensity can ramp up. We're going to take a look at our players to watch for this game, starting with the Six Nations Chiefs and Clay Hill, the captain of the team, who tonight will be playing on offense. He doesn't have a lot of points this year because he has been playing out the back door, but tonight, with the numbers the way they're working out, he's coming out the front door for them. I talked to Rich Kilgore, their head coach, beforehand and said, "Oh, Clay's playing offense?" He said, "Yep, he can do it all. He's a veteran. He's a solid performer. We saw in CLAX that he's pretty good." And Scott Campbell for the Brooklyn Redmen. Yeah, Scott Campbell, you see the numbers right there, 17 points in just 9 games so far. He's a great complement to the offense on this team so far, led by Sean Williams and Derek Hopcroft. But don't forget about Dave Campbell. If you leave him alone too long, he can do some damage for you as well. Yeah, and his brother Scott Campbell, who's actually playing tonight. Absolutely. Dave Campbell, of course, not. He's on the Kitchener-Waterloo Kodiaks. There are the standings for the season. Six Nations in first, 6 wins, 3 losses and a tie in their 10 games. They have 13 points. Brooklyn, Brampton, Peterborough, all with 12, all very close. KW with a loss and a tie this week, but they have actually won. They have a win and a tie in their last 2 against Six Nations. They're right in there as well. Ajax is a bit out of it. But they're going to be in the playoffs, and that's when they're going to. Everyone makes the postseason, like you said, and once the rosters reset, I mean, to put it into perspective, probably not going to see that much, like you said. But once those rosters reset, anything can, and
maybe will happen. Kitchener knocking on the door, as we saw in that graphic there. They've had some close games as well. One goal here, a bounce there, and they could be right in. 8-7 loss to Brampton last night, and it was extremely close, unfortunately just running out of time on the clock.
Yeah, from the Kodiak's perspective, and they're playing very well. They've got about 10 National Lacrosse League players, 9 or 10 on their roster, depending, if you include practice roster players and that. Mm-hmm. And they've got guys like Adam McGordy and Joey Cupido, who were drafted in the NLL last year and just couldn't make it in the 9-team National Lacrosse League. But some of these guys are really good players. Joey Cupido is a guy that I'm really high on after seeing him play a couple of times. You and I, of course, did a game in Kitchener-Waterloo against Six Nations just a couple of weeks ago, and Cupido looked great.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a lot of veterans on Brooklyn's roster, but a lot of youth coming in as well. You want to talk about Kyle Matisse? I know you're extremely high on him.
Oh, he's a fantastic player. He's a guy who's got a ton of talent. Last year he scored, I think it was 37 points for them in the regular season, and he's a pretty good player. He's a very good player, but he was just feeling his way into Major Series Lacrosse, and you could just see he was ready to break out. And a couple of weeks ago, we were here doing a game. He was our player to watch, and he had 4 goals, including the best goal of the night, an absolute beauty that showed the kind of impact he can have. He has the potential to be a similar kind of player to like a Kevin Crowley. I don't think he'll ever be quite the player Crowley is. Crowley is a dominant player.
That would take a lot for most people.
But he's got that kind of skill set. He's big. He's got good body control. He's got good stick work, and he's a good, solid player. He just hasn't developed as far as Crowley has. We're going to take a look at our starting goaltenders for the game. At this end, Aaron Bold, who was the second place candidate for the National Lacrosse League Goaltender of the Year, probably would have won it if they'd gone a week into the playoffs. He established himself last year in the summer as it was his first chance to be a bona fide starter. He carried that over to Edmonton, and now he's been brilliant for them all summer.
Six Nations Chiefs goaltender Brandon Miller getting the start this evening, his first game for the Six Nations Chiefs. Bit of a surprise. Mike Poulin been carrying the torch so far. Miller coming over in that off-season trade with Brampton, sending Matt Vince the other way. He's getting his looks out with the Excelsiors as well. So it's going to be a great goaltending matchup. We haven't seen a lot of Miller, but it's going to be good either way. Let's head down to the floor for the national anthem.
There you have it. Oh, Canada.
Woo!
Still going. Sorry. There we go. You know, I love guitar anthems. It was a little funny watching some of the reactions of the players. Cam Holding and John LaFontaine were looking over, kind of grinning and wondering, because he did add a few notes, but I dig it.
I didn't notice. I didn't notice at all. Sid Smith and a couple guys over on the Six Nations bench getting a kick out of that as well. But great to throw a bit of a different flair in there. This is lacrosse. This is a rockin' sport. What a great way to get this game kicked off.
Our referees tonight, Jason Wiswell and Brent McCauley. Wiswell looking like he's heading over to center floor to do the opening faceoff. Brent McCauley going down to check something with Aaron Bold. Bold looks like he has a question for them. Bold backing into his net, ready to go. Brent McCauley is having a bit of a chat with Oh, okay. Bold was asking for the doors behind the over on the far side of the arena to be closed because there was actually some light shining down onto the floor right in front of him, making it a little hard for him to see.
Nice catch, partner. I was still trying to figure out what was going on. I thought he wanted them open. It gets hot in this building.
It does get hot, but I think he's more worried about seeing the ball scooped up there. Dan Coates takes it. He'll pass it off, and the ball will be run up the floor by John Sullivan. Welcome to everyone joining us from around the world. I know we've got listeners in Rochester. Hello, Foxhalls. And BC, Australia, Switzerland, Czech Republic. I know we've got folks from all over who like to watch. We're really thrilled to have you all here with us on our first live webcast of the season. It'd be hard to pick a better pair of teams to be going head-to-head in our opening game. Six Nations loses the ball, and Derek Hopcroft will take it and head up for Brooklyn's first offensive possession. Almost throw it away, but that big reach of Kyle Matisse helps out. He's going one-on-one there with Jeremy Thompson. Thompson with some good, solid D. Of course, Thompson breaking in this year with the Buffalo Bandits. Miller goes to the floor to knock that shot away. We're going to have a possession foul, and Six Nations takes over.
Miller, like we said, hasn't played at all so far this season. Committed very early on that first shot. So we'll see if he keeps that up throughout the rest of the evening.
He had a strong season once again in Philadelphia. He's really had, especially the first half of the season, the last few years in Philly, he's been very, very good. Some nice help defense there, but walking away from his reach Dutch, working his way through. Now Cody Jamieson gets the rebound, but fires it way high. There's 2 seconds to shoot, and Brandon Miller's going to see if he can toss it the length of the floor. He cannot. He'll just toss it over to Wiswell. Brooklyn gets the ball, and they will take it right in the corner. Jeff Griffiths up in the front end. Throws it back to Sean Williams. Everything flows through Sean Williams here in Brooklyn. He is one of the ultimate masters. He gets the ball right on top to Josh Rise, who can't quite handle it. Tom Montour knocks it away. Nice little sidearm pass by Brandon Miller over to Tommy Montour. Six Nations heads up the floor. Colin Doyle, who is the Sean Williams of the Redmen at this point, and another terrific all-time leader, all-time assist man, and he seems to score the absolutely critical goals as well. Cody Jamieson goes back over to Doyle. They've got about 5 seconds to shoot, and they can't connect on that two-man play. Derek Sutton's all over Jamieson, but he gets out, shoots just slightly after the buzzers. That wouldn't have counted anyway. Redmond picked the ball back up. John LaFontaine will move it up to the offensive zone. Derek Hopcroft with the ball again, going over to Sean Williams. Hopcroft, a great shooter, led the league in goals last year, and taking a bit more of a setup role this year. His teams are really jumping on him to limit his shooting chances. He's one of the hardest shooters around. Coming back down the other way, Jeremy Thompson will take a shift with the offense. Roger Weiss, he is a spot-up shooter, makes a nice pass there to Clay Hill. Clay Hill, who had a terrific season in CLAX, really showed he can play at both ends of the floor, and that was a nice little pick-and-roll play to get that shot off, just stopped by the shoulder of Aaron Bold.
You mentioned it. They said Clay Hill playing out on offense, normally defense so far this year. A lot of guys playing in Canadian Lacrosse League getting to show both sides of their talent pool earlier in this summer.
A bit of a meeting at the crease there, and Sean Williams gets up. He's been feisty the last couple games, and he just gave Rory Smith a shove. Sean Williams, maybe not the guy you would think would be going after Rory Smith.
And how about Josh Rise, the guy that you'd expect to be in there pulling Williams out of the way? Says, don't worry, I'll remember that one for later.
Yeah. I was going to say they took Rory Smith's number, 24, but I think they all pretty much have 24 imprinted on their brains beforehand. The shot by Reese Dutch from outside, stopped by the arm of Aaron Bold. Fighting for the rebound, Cody Jamieson comes up with it from Mike Cudmore. Cudmore and Suddens will surround him. Cudmore doing some good work, but Jamieson gets it over to Reese Dutch. Keto Hill over to Roger Weiss. Weiss with the ball in the face-off circle. Nice little behind the head flip, and then the behind the head shot by Alex Keto Hill misses. Scooped up. Cam Holding heading up the floor. He's 1-on-2. He's going to peel back and set up the offense. He'll just give it to Derek Hopcroft. Hopcroft will set up. Billy D. Smith trying to work his way through. Great screen by Scott Campbell. Not a moving pick because he's just running along in front of Smith. Those are two big men. Now Campbell was our player to watch for Brooklyn because He generally plays out the back door, but he plays a lot out the front door for them as well. It's interesting to see which end he's coming from, because I personally think with the save by Bold on an outside shot there, again by Dutch, or by Craig Point this time, sorry, I tend to think he can be more effective actually coming out the back door. He's a very good defender, and he can really get that transition game revved up. So we'll see how they tend to use him tonight. Rise goes down into the corner. Matt Holman, who loves to set up down along the crease and look for someone cutting just like that. Sean Williams, so unable to bury. Brandon Miller looking solid so far. Tom Montour hands it over to Dan Coates. Coates had a rookie season with the Colorado Mammoth this year and a pretty strong schedule for him. Dan Ball with the checks on Reese Dutch. Roger Weiss going one-on-one with the isolation play. Now Cody Jamieson comes over to help out. Cudmore and Goodchild doing a pretty good job on the defensive side to not let anything open up. Now Clay Hill's cutting and gets the pass. Bounces out. The 30-second shot clock has gone off. There we go. It's going again now.
It was winding down there for Hill. That's why I did take the bit of a forced shot there.
Yeah, it looks like it did. I wasn't sure if it went off of Bold, but apparently it did as the clock was being reset. Now Keto Hill with the maneuver to get around and try to shoot around Derek Suddens, but Suddens gets in the way, pretty much stops that. They've got 8 seconds left. Roger Weiss goes to Keto Hill, and he is ready to fire, and it's going to go in. Keto Hill sneaks that one through Aaron Bold. You could see the spin drawing it into the net. Keto Hill with the first goal of the night.
And a nice little delay there on the shot. Waited just long enough to get the screen in front and shoot over top of the guy, the defender in front of him, and fooled Bold just enough. He only got just a little bit before it rolled in the back of the net. We're going to get another look at it here, Steven.
Well, and Hill was ready for that one. He was just all primed and ready to shoot. We're going to take another peek at this. Look at him all ready with the stick set. As soon as he gets it, he actually, all he did was change the angle, which is pretty smart because the sidearm shot that he was setting up for was taken away by the defenders. So he came up over the top and snuck it through for the first goal of the game. Keto Hill has done such a great job for them. Rich Kilgore saying he put him in at the beginning of the year and just couldn't take him out. And there's a foot save by Brandon Miller on a nice spinning shot by Matt Holman, but it was an in the crease call anyway. So they're going to head back up the other way. Rob Marshall tosses it off. Casey Behrens gets the ball set up down in the corner. They come back to the near side to Cody Jamieson. A little two-man game, another shoulder save by Bold. They're shooting at that left shoulder spot of Bold a lot tonight, the off-stick hand. So they might feel like they've got a little bit of a scouting report that says that's where to go. Oh, and there's a ball right on top. Again, Keto Hill taking the pass on the quick bury. Keto Hill establishing himself very quickly tonight as a man to watch in his own right. What a great play, taking that pass and just ripping it. He's got 2 goals, and the ball hasn't been in his stick more than 2 seconds.
That's how you got to do it. I mean, Aaron Bold, so great at going through the crease, very nimble in his net, and you got to get the quick release there. Keto Hill knows all about that, and he does it. Extremely great compliment to the veteran roster that they've got. Here's another look at that quick shot just before the hit comes, and it's in the back of the net.
Yeah, we're back to live action. Keto Hill obviously watching Casey Behrens, the veteran who has mastered the art of the quick shot. He barely has the ball in his stick, and he just buries it home. He's very good that way about getting the pass and getting it fired on. Too many men call, so the ball is turned over to Brooklyn. There's a bit of confusion about who had the ball and if it was contained. Derek Hopcroft with a shot. It goes off of Brandon Miller. Miller looking for the ball, trying to say it didn't hit him, but it clearly did. So Brooklyn gets the ball back. Williams hits Matisse. Matisse over on the wrong side of the floor. He's going to try and come and set a screen now. He's going to slowly make his way back. Oh, the big rip by Hopcroft off the post. Brandon Miller takes a quick look back and says, thanks, buddy, to the post. Jeremy Thompson once again with the ball running it up the floor.
And again, that shot, a couple guys screened, ball coming right over the shoulder of the man out in front.
Yeah, everyone using the same tactic tonight, and it is working very well. Goodchild can't pick it up, but it is scooped up now. Nick Diachenko, a new addition to the Brooklyn roster, has the ball and will toss it off to Matt Holman. Diachenko expected to bring some solid defense as he just did there. Matisse falling, gets it over to Scott Campbell. Campbell with a big whack taken there. from Matt McLeod. McLeod fairly new to this roster as he was getting over an injury from late in the NLL season. Sid Smith comes up with it. Long pass. Tom Montour, though, has no numbers, so he'll just slow it down. He'll head to the bench while Keto Hill sets up and gives it now to Cody Jamieson.
Rob Marshall and Sean Williams continuing their battle for a good 20 seconds down in front. Keep our eye on those two as this game continues.
Yeah, I'm telling you, Williams has been feisty lately. Doyle trying to pass over to Casey Behrens, and Behrens had moved away from Doyle was passing. No time left, so he's going to have to fire it off, and he won't get a shot, so Bold will just scoop it up. Actually, Cam Holding will take it. Holding, who broke into the NLL this year with the Minnesota Swarm after starting out with the Mila League, and he sees an opening, goes behind the back, right in the chest, though, of Brandon Miller. Miller looking for somebody to pass to. He's going to go straight up the middle. Dan Coates will peel back, hand it off to Roger Weiss, and Weiss with those teal and orange sneakers. I dig those teal and orange sneakers, man. They suit the uniform very well. Clay Hill with a beautiful pass. Oh, what a great ball movement, and then a terrific save by Bold. Hill to Doyle, over to Weiss, the quick shot, and just that little shrug by Bold to stop that shot. He has been pretty sharp despite being beaten twice by Keto Hill. Now Doyle takes a screen, nothing doing, so he just fires it. Bold stops that one, makes the short pass off. Scott Gamble.
Bit of English on the shot as well, bouncing. It looked like it turned the corner as it came around the man. This concrete, you can get the ball down on it. Who knows where it's going to go?
Yeah, and guys like Doyle and John Grant, that kind of player, can get so much English on the ball. And Sean Williams, speaking of an all-time great, rips that one from 30 feet right past Brandon Miller. Brandon Miller did not appear to see that ball at all as Williams came around his screen and shot around another defender.
Yeah, we'll have to get another look at who the screen player was on our replay here. But like you said, Brandon Miller looked like he's a bit handcuffed there, and here it comes as the ball's over on the far side. And we've already seen Sean Williams. Yeah, you got to respect the shot by coming up, but unfortunately that's what he can do with it. Use it as a screen, bouncing just in front of Brandon Miller, handcuffing him, and it's in the back of the net. 2-1 now for the visiting Six Nation Chiefs.
Yeah, and he wasn't actually shooting around the screen as I thought at first. The screens were just basically clearing the lane for him. They both did a nice job. Josh Rye's one of them who he's out there to use that big body and open up some space. He did it perfectly. Williams saw a lane and just fired it. And that's just a one-on-one battle between Williams and Miller that Williams won that time. Williams known primarily for his passing game, but he is a great shooter. Was second in MSL last year in goals with 40, and of course ran away with the scoring title with 84 assists, I believe. I think he went up with 124. What a great season he had last year, and he's really reproducing much of it this year. Cody Jamieson setting up. They've got 15 seconds. Nice catch on the far side. The ball comes back over to Jamieson. Reese Dutch is playing the setup man this time, throwing some screens. He's picked up by Wes McDonald. Now the ball is grabbed by Kyle Goodchild. He goes back to Scott Gamble, who will slow things down, give it to Matisse. He's going to trot the ball up the floor with 20 seconds left on the shot clock for Brooklyn. Matisse trying to work his way past Jeremy Thompson. Williams looking. Nice two-man game there, and the shot off the post. And we're going to have a penalty there. That was Ty Patterson, who is starting to make an impact with the Redmen this season. He took the two-man game with Williams, got the pass, and rung it off the post. Rob Marshall heading to the box. 2 minutes for roughing, I believe that signal was by Jason Wiswell. And we'll have the first power play of the game. Derek Hopcroft awaiting it. We're going to see exactly what happens here.
Oh, yeah, pretty obvious, I think, from that replay right out in front of the net. The huge collision, pretty obvious to see where the call may have come from. But in terms of going by the rule book, Rob Marshall is going to sit. That's the end decision, however. Just over 9 to play here, and we'll get our look at Brooklyn's power play unit.
Oh, and a very quick play there. Sean Williams with the perfect setup over to Matt Holman. Holman burying the quick stick. Congratulations all around. And just like that, we are tied up. Sean Williams playing a huge role with that setup and the bury by Matt Holman. And that only took a few seconds. We're going to take another peek at it. You see Hopcroft going over to the far side. Williams waiting just at the perfect time. He makes it look so easy, but there are sticks all over the place there, and you just have to fit it right through. You see Matisse to Hopcroft, lots of ball movement. Everyone's touching the ball except Patterson, who's setting a screen, keeping John Sullivan away from Williams. Great play.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to respect what Hopcroft and Williams can do up top, but you cannot forget about other guys like Holman and others down low as well, and that's exactly why.
Yeah, Holman is such a handy player for them. He's a tiny guy, but he has a big impact for them when the other guys are being covered. Beautiful
flip there. Unfortunately, didn't result to anything, but the creativity of Colin Doyle to just flip it over his head and back to his mate.
Brooklyn comes back up the other way. Hopcroft dangling. Two-man game with Rise, but nothing opening up, so they go up top to Williams, and Hopcroft will just let it rip. And that is not a bad idea. He goes right around Mike McNamara, who had slid out to cover him after the screen from Josh Rise. And Hopcroft took the pass, and a la Keto Hill let it rip almost immediately. But as good as Keto Hill is, Hopcroft shoots harder than Keto Hill.
No sooner do we finish saying you can't discredit, you got to watch out for that big shot. He shows you exactly why, and it's just a snipe up into the top corner. This will be a good look right in the same line of the shot. Yeah, there it is, and you can see the hole's not very big. It just has to be big enough for them to let the ball through. Back to live action down.
Keto Hill with the spin. He is checked by Cam Holding. I thought he was going to fly backwards into the boards for a second, but Hill making a couple of nice moves. Ball comes back out. They've got 13 seconds to shoot. Clay Hill's going to go to Jammer. Cody Jamerson with a big rip into the stick of Aaron Bold. It can take these guys a little while in the summer to get used to that big goalie wooden stick that they have to face. Jeff Gilbert brings the ball up. Little flip pass, and now he'll stay. No, he's going to go to the bench. He pretended he was going to stay up, but he will allow Ty Patterson to join in. They've got 12 seconds left. LaFontaine, who did stay, and a nice little skip shot by Matisse just wide. Now Matisse hustling back to limit Billy D. Smith, but Smith goes to the net, and there's going to be a penalty. 2 minutes for slashing to Nick Diachenko. And now that one was fairly obvious.
Yeah.
You can see where it was.
Yes,
you can see
was.
why, because he took the big hack at Billy D. Smith. And we'll see it again, and this one is fairly apparent what's going on.
Yeah, it's been called a lot, and here it comes. A two-hander right in on the free arm. And referees, especially this year, in most leagues, cracking down on the slashing calls.
Yeah, especially when you slide your hand right down to the end of the stick, your upper hand. You got both hands on the end of the stick for the big axe chop. You're going to get that call pretty frequently, especially if the ref feels after the last call like he may have called a bit of a softie, which is possible. I thought it was a little soft.
Are you insinuating referees have makeup calls?
I am, very strongly. Cody Jameson up top. Looked like he wanted to shoot again, but he's going to play catch for a while with Reese Dutch. Now he goes to the net, save again by Bold. Jameson thought he had a bit of a opening there.
The lane was open.
By Roger Weiss. The ball gets free now after some good work by Casey Behrens. Aaron Bold almost put the ball in his own net, and that's going to be a 10-second call?
Yeah.
Yeah, a 10-second call. And they didn't even get the ball past the crease on that. Wow, great forecheck by the Chiefs to earn the ball back. Cody Jameson over to Weiss. Colin Doyle is going to set a screen here, open something up for Weiss, and he'll fire wide. It was almost grabbed off the backboards by Casey Behrens, but Jeff Gilbert scoops it up. He's going for the long outlet pass, picked up by Cam Holding. Holding is looking for someone to pass to. They were trying. Holding and Scott Campbell trying to get something going in the transition. Couldn't do it. Now they're just going to kill as much time as they can off the penalty. 53 seconds to go. Nope, they're not going to do that. They're going to go for the net just as I say it. Sean Williams over to Kyle Matisse. 24 seconds on the shot clock. More than that on the penalty for the Chiefs. So they're going to take their time, set it up. Cody Jameson looking over to Dutch. Comes down to Doyle. He sees the cutting Craig Point. Nobody able to pick Point up. Doyle hits him in a perfectly timed pass. And once again, a third goal for Six Nations tonight. All three have spent a total of about a second to a second and a half in the sticks of Keto Hill and Craig Point, respectively.
Yeah, for sure. And Brooklyn getting caught chasing the ball around here so far tonight. And they're going to have to start playing the man against these Six Nation Chiefs because they move the ball through the stick way too quickly. You're going to get caught looking at the ball. It's going to be by you way too fast.
Jeff Gilbert with a nice little behind-the-back pass over to LaFontaine. He hits Cudmore, and Cudmore gets to Hopcroft. And the problem probably there for Brooklyn was they had the four guys standing fairly still, and nobody saw Point cutting through. A big hit, and Jeff Griffith is on the floor. He gets up and goes a little bit tenderly towards the bench. Six Nations comes back the other way. Mike McNamara with the pass up. Clay Hill will set up now. We've got just about 5 minutes left here in the first period. The score 3-all. Six Nations in Brooklyn. Not anymore, though. Clay Hill will make it 4-3, just like that for the Six Nations Chiefs with exactly 5 minutes to go.
And like we've been saying all night, the quick ball movement working for the Six Nations. Craig Point walking in off the boards, and he's going to get himself right into the middle. Here's another look at what we're talking about. Clay Hill, our player to watch, just waiting for it, wound up. Looked like he was going for the shot. And that's going to set things up. Craig Point walks into the middle. No one notices. And, again, the quick shot off the pass. That's about the fourth goal, the fourth time we've seen. Once they get that ball movement, Brooklyn just can't keep up.
Yeah, and that was a nice screen by Hill to set that up. And a nice finish by Craig Point, his second goal. So Keto Hill and Craig Point each with a pair of goals. It's 4-3 for Six Nations. That ball knocked down by Goodchild by Holding, but Doyle gets it back, gets the shot off. A fresh 30 for the Chiefs. Now we have a tired Brooklyn defense that's already been having a little trouble keeping up with the cutters from Six Nations. This could spell some trouble for the Redmen. They want to just get this possession over with as soon as possible and get up the other way. And that big save off of Casey Behrens is going to let them do that. Holding, heading up. He's got Derek Suttons with him and Sean Williams coming off the bench. They're 3-on-3, and they're going to move towards the net. Now they're going to find Williams again, and Matt Holman will cut through the slot. Kyle Matisse, the late man, coming. They play a little hidden ball. Now they go over to Matisse. He's one-on-one with Rory Smith. Smith just manages to keep him out. Matisse going to Ty Patterson. Patterson behind the back. Sean Williams was cutting low, and Matisse looked like he was going to go to him first. Then Patterson, the second gunner, took the pass. Miller was all over that shot, though. Still 4-3 for the Six Nations Chiefs. 3:40 to go in the first period. I'm Steven Stamp with Matthew Carrick for Major Series Lacrosse live web streaming action. Long outside shot that almost snuck through again. That one, Craig Point, he almost had the natural hat trick. They get the ball back yet again. Six Nations really winning the loose ball battle so far this evening. Colin Doyle setting up. He's going to let it go. No, he's going to fake it. And now we have a slashing penalty coming to Brooklyn. Brandon Miller will go to the bench. They've got 12 seconds to work with the extra attacker. So Casey Behrens comes in, goes right to the top of the crease, and Clay Hill rips a shot with 5 to go on the shot clock. Exactly 3 minutes to play in the first period. Six Nations up 4-3. Nick Diachenko takes another slashing penalty, or a holding penalty this time, but his second penalty of the period.
Here's our brand new Twitter account. At JVI Video. If you're on Twitter, you can connect with us, figure out when our next schedule is going to be. Hashtag JVI, hashtag MSL to join the conversation about this and any of our other games.
And we're back to live action. The shot by Colin Doyle just wide of the net. Setting up the 5-on-4. Fighting for the ball there. Oh, nice play by Cam Holding to keep Roger Weiss away and eventually come up. Holding almost sprung himself free. Weiss just kept him from getting away. Now Holding's taking off up the floor. He's got Hopcroft. I would think he's going to give it to him at some point. Behind the back, over to Scott Campbell, and just wide on the far side. They got Miller moving back and forth. Sid Smith with the big hit. Separates Campbell from the ball. It's picked up by Tom Montour, but he has his head down. And Scott Campbell buries him as he heads to the bench. Now Hopcroft will go after Sid Smith. and they're just resetting the 30-second clock now as there was no possession there during that whole scramble. I thought Scott Campbell was absolutely going to bury Tom Montour for a second.
It definitely looked that way.
The outside shot by Reese Dutch, his first of the game. The power play marker yet again for Six Nations. They go up 5-3, and that one, the ball was not a quick stick. Reese Dutch was set up top and took a few steps, just working his way into a shooting position, and then absolutely rifled it past.
Dutch having a strong season so far. The first game he had 5 points on the board before he was taken out, actually on his way to hospital for some stitches in his first game of the season. And this is just a huge three-quarter shot around the screen. Aaron Bold still trying to figure out where it is.
1:42 to go in the first period. It's 5-3 now for the Six Nations Chiefs. In MSL live streaming action, Derek Hopcroft going to the net, shoots into the stick of Brandon Miller. Hopcroft looked like he kept expecting to get someone to pass to, and the lane just opened up for him, so he took the shot. I don't know that he was quite as ready for it as he might have been because he was still looking to pass. Cody Jameson sets up with 15 to go on the shot clock for Six Nations. Goes over to Dutch, who takes another long one. This one stopped by Bold. Ball's going to come back, though, on a loose ball possession foul. Six Nations again with the second chance possession. Really getting the better of the play in the second half of this period. Brooklyn with 1:05 to go. Can't wait for it to end. Colin Doyle with the one-hand catch, the one-hand shot. But the save by Aaron Bold. Diachenko coming up the floor, lets it rip and scores. That's not a bad way to make up for taking a couple of penalties in the period. Pick up a loose ball, head down the floor, and score a transition goal. Get one of those easy goals that the coaches talk about. It's so hard to score 5-on-5. Diachenko is going to get one in transition. First, we're going to take a peek at the save on the shot, the one-hand shot. You can see Doyle goes up with one hand, gets that shot, and now Diachenko picks it up, comes the other way, and goes right past the foot of Brandon Miller.
And how many times do we see a big save at one end lead to a point on the board down at the other side of the floor? Aaron Bold standing tall so far here. He has let in five, but he's stood tall the rest of the time.
He has been pretty good. I mean, certainly he wouldn't want to give up 15 in a game as he's on pace to do, but the goals that Six Nations have scored, save for that one long outside shot by Reese Dutch, have really been pretty high-quality opportunities. Brooklyn, that's a huge momentum shifter for them, and that one by Cody Jameson is high. 30-second shot clock will not be a factor now as there are just 21 and a half seconds left. The Brooklyn Redmen call timeout after Jeff Gilbert scoops that loose ball. I love the way Gilbert's immediately looking up the floor for the transition opportunity. Then they call the timeout since it wasn't there, and they're going to set up for a last shot this period.
Well, he was looking for it there, and we saw the transition goal earlier. That could be how Brooklyn is going to keep this game close in the transition game. Their defense is going to get a talking to, I would think, in the dressing room at half. They've missed a few cutters and some interesting setups we've seen down there. Normally you want to see that four guys in the box and one guy up top creating the house, but we've seen lines being drawn down there. We've seen circles. We've seen guys chasing each other. So pretty interesting here. They'll have last shot to see if they can tie it up here. We'll see what they can do off this timeout.
Bold on the bench, Hopcroft, Williams, Matisse, and Campbell so far out on the floor. They've got the other two down the far end already. Matt Holman and Ty Patterson set up down by the crease. Rob Marshall is going to be right on top of Derek Hopcroft as he will get the ball. 21 and a half seconds to go, 5-4 in favor of the visiting Six Nations Chiefs over the hometown Brooklyn Redmen. The Redmen in black, the Chiefs in their white with teal and orange. As we suspected, the pass over to Sean Williams. He will trot up the floor. They've got 14 seconds to go. They'll start to attack the net with about 8 left on the clock. And there they go. Williams is going to go to Matisse. Back to Williams. He's going to hit Holman. Holman with the shot. Nice save by Miller as he was in mid-fall. There's no time left. He's not going to be able to let it rip down. But Matt Holman giving a bit of a disappointed look. But that was a pretty nice little play and a good shot by Holman.
Why not? If it worked, you can't beat him, join him. Let's move the ball around pretty quick. But once again, Brandon Miller going down looked almost like before the ball got there. And if they can get some fakes going, if they can create some plays, they could catch Brandon Miller out here. Can the Brooklyn Redmen?
We're going to run quickly through the scoring for the first period. Alex Keto Hill with the first 2 goals, both from Colin Doyle assists at 5:29, then 6:15, just 46 seconds apart. Sean Williams and then Matt Holman and then Derek Hopcroft with 3 straight within 2.5 minutes for the Redmen. Then Six Nations comes back with 3 of their own, 2 from Craig Point, the first on the power play again from Doyle. Then Reese Dutch with the long outside shot, making it 5-3. Then Nick Diachenko at 19:08 from West McDonald, the transition goal to make it 5-4. The score as we go to the first intermission. I am Stephen Stamp with Matthew Carrick for JVI Productions. Thanks for joining us. Come back for the second period of Brooklyn Redmen and Six Nations Chiefs.